Hi there, my name's Sean, and I want to talk about Rocko's modern life. Today, we're looking at Keeping Up With the Bigheads, an episode about lawn care, home maintenance, and how quickly a small neighborly dispute can turn into a full-blown crisis.
Get off my back, woman!
It's been a while since Rocko's modern life has centered an episode so firmly around Ed Bighead. He's always present in the show, always irritated and always looming somewhere nearby. But this time, he isn't just a reoccurring nuisance, he's the engine. Everything that goes wrong in this episode starts with how Ed sees the world. We open on Ed Bighead in his front yard, sculpting a hedge in his own image. Not trimming it, but sculpting it. Ed is wearing a pair of exaggerated pesto-matic goggles, scanning the hedge as if he's conducting a search operation. The goggles lock onto a single bug, chewing on one leaf, and Ed reacts immediately, plucking it out with tweezers.
Lazy good-for-nothing freeloader, ruining my winning masterpiece!
And that particular phrasing matters. Winning. This isn't about cleanliness, it's about dominance. Ed views the yard as something to be defended, something to be kept pure. He drops the bug into a box on the lawn labeled Ed's Bug Prison. The box has ventilation holes, a latch, and far more structural thought put into it than any container for insects reasonably should. Inside, it's packed with bugs, crammed into cells stacked on top of one another like inmates. The new arrivals start shouting about freedom, about how this won't last forever, and about how one day they'll rise up.
One day, we will have our chance to be free!
To stand like free men in the cool breeze of freedom.
Ed shuts the lid without even acknowledging the speech and goes right back to yard work. The episode tells you everything you need to know right here. Ed doesn't see a bug, he sees disorder. Something out of place that needs to be removed before it spreads. Suddenly, the goggles activate again. Ed peers over the fence into Rocko's yard, and through the lenses, Rocko and Heifer are identified as slugs. They're stretched out on lawn chairs, sunglasses on, drinks in hand, doing pretty much nothing. While Ed mutters about parasites under his breath, Beverly Bighead calls down to him from the second-story window.
That garden isn't the only thing that needs attention.
Ed physically recoils and mutters that he wishes he had more garden to tend to. The goggles alert again, directing Ed's attention to the fence where a thick, tentacle-like weed creeps over from Rocko's yard. We see it slither towards a flower bed marked with a small medal. These are prize-winning flowers. Carefully cultivated, cherished, and protected. The weed wraps around them and yanks them straight out of the ground in one violent pull. Ed completely snaps. He attacks the weed with every gardening tool he can grab, spiraling into a full meltdown. From Rocko's side of the fence, it barely registers. Rocko and Heifer glance over, see Ed flailing around his yard, and shrug it off as another Bighead episode. He's always got some chore, and he's usually worked up over something. So they go back to sunbathing, thinking about their own chore list.
Oh, let's see. Wake up, eat, sunbathe while eating. Next is TV and snacks.
Inside Rocko's house, that plan continues until the front door starts shaking violently. Rocko opens it to find Ed standing there, clutching the mangled remains of his flowers. Ed completely unloads on him. The house looks bad, the yard is out of control, and the weeds are spreading. Rocko is dragging the whole neighborhood down. Rocko looks back at his house and genuinely does not see the emergency. And that's when Ed escalates. He announces that he's calling in his nephew, the O-Town building inspector. 6 o'clock, full inspection. Condemning Rocko's house is on the table, even demolishing it if it comes down to it. Ed storms off, somewhat satisfied, leaving Rocko more confused than angry.
Oi, what's got his knickers in a twist?
The answer is simple. The house looks bad, the yard looks worse, and for people like Ed, that isn't cosmetic. It's moral. Neighbors who don't keep up are considered a threat. Not because they're harmful, but because they're visible. Rocko and Heifer step outside and actually look at the property. The house is rough. Cracked windows, boards nailed over unfinished repairs, and the garage door hangs crooked. The driveway is full of potholes, and the yard is empty and dry except for those tentacle weeds. Rocko admits that the property could use some work. Ed mocks him from over the fence, and Rocko fires back, insisting that not only can he fix it, he can do better than Ed ever has. The idea of this sends Ed into absolute hysterics.
Oh, stop! Stop! I might wet myself!
Oops.
This is the turning point. Rocko's motivation isn't necessarily pride, it's born out of panic. Once inspection enters the picture, improvement becomes mandatory. Rocko opens the garage looking for tools, and the space is pure chaos. The garage is littered from floor to ceiling in just absolute junk. An anvil, a toilet, a tire, a jackhammer, a skeleton in a rocking chair, a barrel of toxic waste, the succomatic, and finally, a few cans of paint. Red, green, and yellow. Not enough of one color? Not a problem. Heifer dumps them all into a cauldron, mixing them together.
It's sort of brown or green.
We'll call it breen. I'm sure it'll look nice when it dries.
What follows is a home improvement montage that steadily loses its grip on reality. They re-nail the roof while Heifer holds the hammer backwards, punching holes with every swing, pausing to eat nails like a can of mixed nuts. Spunky gets mixed into concrete and smeared onto the wall as patchwork, and when they try to tar the driveway, Heifer stands on the hose, resulting in built-up pressure, launching Rocko through the air. Ed Bighead laughs next door until the hose sprays him too. The gag escalates into a full tar and feather operation involving payphones, airplanes, and the International Feathering Patrol. It's excessive, it's drawn out, and honestly, it's kind of fun. When the montage ends, the boys find themselves pretty much right back where they started.
No, Hef? It seems odd, but this place doesn't look much different.
No argument here.
It's now 10 minutes until the inspector arrives and the clock is ticking. The boys decide that landscaping is their last hope. We see Rocko frantically throwing down seeds while Heifer eats them. Rocko panics that nothing is growing, apparently forgetting how time works. Heifer, on the other hand, suggests fertilizer. As a kid, I had so much difficulty wrapping my head around this scene. It's like the Kanye South Park Fish Sticks episode, trying to figure out how Heifer plus sports page equals fertilizer. After some grunts, groans, and a little prancing around the yard, the deed is done off screen. Afterward, we see Rocko and Heifer standing there, staring at the ground, waiting. The earth trembles and a single sprout pops up, small and insignificant. Ed is already celebrating. Then, the ground shakes again. Plants erupt violently from Rocko's yard, and the boys are thrown through the air into the workbench holding the paint cauldron. It launches into the air, flips, and dumps green paint all over the house. It comes crashing down, ricocheting off of Ed's head and knocking the bug prison over. The insects pour out and swarm Ed's yard. Termites, flies, everything. Ed's carefully controlled property is destroyed in seconds.
Gee, Hef, it does look nicer when it dries.
The inspector arrives and surveys both properties side by side. And it's not even close. Rocko's house gleams. Lush grass, towering flowers, and meanwhile, Ed's property is an absolute shambles. The choice is pretty clear. The inspector asks Ed for his signature, and Ed signs while still mocking Rocko, completely unaware of what's happening around him. The Bighead house is hooked up and dragged away, and Beverly screams from the window. Ed finally looks around, but he's a little too late to notice. Back at Rocko's place, the boys admire the new yard. Rocko hopes he can keep it looking this way for a long time. But before the episode can end, the ground shakes again and the illusion breaks. The house collapses back into its original wreck state. While Rocko survives the inspection, he never actually wins. I don't think he even learned a lesson here. I know I sure didn't. So what did you think of Keeping Up with the Bigheads? Does it hold up as one of Rocko's strongest earliest episodes, or is it just another perfectly chaotic suburban meltdown? Let me know down below. I'm covering episodes of Rocko's Modern Life and The Angry Beavers with new content every week. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
We'll call it breen.